LeBlanc, Dr. Tom Iwinski, and Derek Parton. This show is dedicated to you, the residents and businesses of Garden City, as well as the surrounding communities. Remember, we're working hard to promote our community and yours.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of GC Community Chat. It's Thursday, June 19th, 2014, and this is show number 204. Remember, no one is more committed to the businesses and residents than GC Community Chat. If you'd like to promote your business, your organization, or just give a shout out to your community, then GC Community Chat is here for you. We are all about promoting our community and yours. All right, let me introduce my co-host for tonight. Once again, our very own Wayne County Commissioner, Richard LeBlanc. Richard?
Hey.
How are you?
Just peachy.
Live.
204 live.
And our resident weatherman, who hopefully will have a much improved forecast after yesterday's storms, Mr. Dr. Tom Iwinski. Tom, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. Still recovering after yesterday. It was a long, long day.
Yeah, it was a long day for you, I bet, eh?
Absolutely.
All right, listen, if you want to join the conversation tonight, just head on over to TalkShoe.com and search for show ID 82757. That takes you right to our main show page. Once you're there, just click on the large Join Now button, and you'll sign in as a guest or create a free account, and that will take you right to our chat room where you can listen, type your questions and comments at the bottom of the page, and find our phone number and show ID there as well. Now, to call in, the phone number is 1-724-444-7444, and you'll enter the call ID 82757 followed by the pound sign. Just listen to the prompts, and you'll be all set. Now, some of you may have to call in more than once due to the heavy traffic. We do apologize in advance. Keep trying, and we hope to talk to you soon. You can always text your questions or comments to us at 734-788-9319. Okay, we hope you've been enjoying our new segment called Gardening in 2 Minutes with Joey and Holly Baird from Wisconsin, who do several gardening videos on YouTube and also have a digital magazine, which you can find on their website at www.thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com. We're getting some good positive feedback from our listeners, so here with their next installment on container gardening is Joey and Holly Baird and Gardening in 2 Minutes.
This is Gardening in 2 Minutes. Containers are a really versatile way to garden, and you can plant them no matter where you live. There's some things to keep in mind, though, when you're container gardening.
You want to get a container as large as you possibly can for the area that you're growing in, regardless of the item that you're growing.
Right, and you also want to take into account where you're putting the container. How much sunlight does it get? Does it get more shade or more sunlight? That way you'll know what you want to plant in it.
Also, the container that you're using, regardless of if it's built for it to be a container or you've customized another device for a container, you need to have drainage holes in it. Now, if you're on a balcony, porch, deck, or patio, you might want to put an item, a drip pan of some sort, underneath it so you don't stain or drip particles of water or soil beneath you or onto other people if you are on a balcony situation.
You may have to water your containers more than somebody with an in-ground garden or raised bed because containers will dry out quicker because they are smaller.
With a container, figure out where you're going to put it first, then fill it with soil. Don't fill it with soil and then decide where you're going to put it.
To make sure that your container is doing well, you want to make sure you have, when you fill it, that you put a nice compost. You want an organic compost that will hold water well and have well-draining properties. Another good idea for a container is something even just like a 5-gallon bucket with drainage holes drilled into the bottom.
For more information on container gardening, our weekly video productions, as well as our free downloadable digital quarterly magazines, you can find all that information at
thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.
For Gardening in 2 Minutes, I'm Joey Baird.
And I'm Holly Baird.
All right, thank you, Joey and Holly. We will talk to you next week.
Okay.
And, hey, Richard, speaking of gardening,
Speaking of,
the Garden Club's 20th Annual Garden Walk is this Saturday, and you and I will have the honor
yes,
of sitting at one of the 8 beautiful gardens, checking in the visitors.
indeed. So we're going to be near the intersection of Henry Ruff and Pierce.
Exactly.
On Pierce. And so for those of you that are going to join the walk, come see us.
Yep.
We'll give you good directions, or if nothing else, we'll tell a joke or two.
And listen, heads up, if anybody has this year's Garden Club calendar, bring it with you, and Richard will gladly sign that for you.
Yes, have Sharpie.
Mr. October.
Right.
Should be fun, though. Hey, the walk's from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. this Saturday. Tickets are $8 or 2 for $15 and can be purchased at Barson's Greenhouse on Merriman, just north of Ford Road, and also at Lucky Dog Luxury Daycare and Boarding, located at 5921 Middle Belt Road, and that's just north of Ford Road. So come on out and see me and Richard in the great gardens of Garden City.
There you go.
Oh, and the first 50 visitors receive a free perennial.
Plant. Right.
Yeah, free perennial too.
Yep.
So that'd be cool. All right, tonight we have another great show for you. Joining us in just a few minutes will be Buddy and Shelby Shuh. Buddy is a spokesperson for the Tears Foundation, and he'll share with us information about the foundation and exactly what they do. Now, if his name sounds familiar, you may remember him as a contestant on The Biggest Loser, Season 13. We'll also find out how that changed his life since then. And Richard, I'm sure, will have some county information for us since the last time we talked. Maybe a couple of items.
Could be.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we hope you'll all be able to stick around and join us here tonight. Okay, before we get to Tom, I just want to mention our shows are always recorded and they are uploaded to our main show page over on TalkShoe.com. Search for show ID 82757, and you can find all 204 shows over there already. It's a lot. You can find them over there and listen to them at your convenience, so check them out. And then, as always, we will continue to upload our latest show to our Facebook page at facebook.com/GCChat. And for those of you who would like to put a face with the voice, we are videotaping our show, and that can be found on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/communitychatshow once it's made available. So no matter what, we have you covered. You won't miss a thing. And we thank you all for listening and your support. All right, let's get a brief check of the weather with Dr. Tom, and then we'll introduce our guests.
Okay, let's do a check on weather with Doppler Tom. Let's see what he has in store for the rest of this week and the weekend coming up. Tom, take it away.
Tom, how much more rain are we going to get?
We'll see a little bit more, but
Little
we're not
bit?
going to see what we've seen yesterday. Absolutely not. But we'll get into those details in just a minute. But yeah, yesterday was a pretty
Crazy.
busy day for me, and we've seen a whole lot of thunderstorms out there. Especially, it started pretty early. The storms moved in about 4 o'clock in the morning, and they woke me up. I don't know if they woke you up, but once I was up, and I didn't get back to bed until midnight. So it was a very long day, and we've seen a lot of heavy rain as well. We've seen about 2 inches of rain through all the complexes that moved through in the morning and the afternoon hours. And luckily, we did not get the severe weather that stayed a little bit to our west across the western parts of Michigan and Wisconsin and Illinois. But we did see a lot of rain out there, and you definitely had some problems because of some flooding. But that's now history, and that's long. And those clouds kind of sticked around today, but they finally started decreasing over the last few hours, and we're seeing some evening sun out there. Temperatures are staying a little bit on the cooler side today. We did not get into the 80s. We stayed in the upper 70s, and the humidity is trying to peel away, but it's still here, and it will continue to try to dissipate as we get through the rest of tonight. We'll see a few clouds out there, but overall, I think it will be a fair night out there. Temperatures are going to be in the upper 50s, so a little bit on the cooler side. And then as I said, into tomorrow, we're going to see a little bit of more of a boundary move in with a little bit more rain tomorrow. I'm not thinking it'll be as heavy as it has been like yesterday, but we'll see some on and off rain throughout the afternoon and evening hours. And you definitely need to keep that umbrella handy because we could get some heavy rain, but nothing like we've seen yesterday. And those temperatures are going to stay a little bit on the cooler side, upper 70s for highs and lows in the upper 50s. And then as we get into the weekend, I do think the rain will start to wind down very quickly Friday night. So I think Saturday for the first day of summer and the garden walk, I think it will be overall a great day. The sun will start to come out throughout the day, and those temperatures won't be too hot as well, upper 70s to lower 80s. So should be a good day on Saturday, and that will continue into Sunday as well. So overall, I think it will be a good weekend out there. Temperatures won't be too hot. And then as we get into next week, especially early next week, Monday and Tuesday, we again see the rain chances lingering early in the week with some on and off rain. and the temperatures are going to be a little bit on the mild side in the upper 70s to lower 80s. So now big heat waves are coming, so that's some good news, especially for the AC bills. And I don't really see any big heat waves really coming as we get into summer, so that's some good news if you don't like the heat. But a little bit on the mild side, not too hot out there, so that's good. And then as we get into late next week, it'll start drying out, and those temperatures will stay pretty mild in the upper 70s to lower 80s. But as I said, severe weather has been a big story here and all across the United States. It's been ongoing all across the plains throughout Nebraska, South Dakota, and Iowa, and they've been dealing with severe weather the last few days with a lot of tornadoes out there. And flooding has been a very big story today in the last few days all across Minnesota, Iowa, and Illinois. They've been seeing a lot of flooding out there. So it's been a very, very busy, active pattern with tornadoes, flooding, and a lot of damaging winds out there as well. But that has been going on in the Midwest and the Plains with this front. The Southwest is still dealing with a lot of heat in those wildfires out there. The Pacific Northwest has been dealing with some rain and some mountain snow, but we won't get into the details, just a brief overview. And the southeastern United States has been very hot as well, and the East Coast has been hot. So that's pretty much the pattern that's been going on across the United States. But yesterday was a very busy day. And as Saturday as well is when my new website comes out. I've been redesigning it the last few weeks, and it's a more of a mobile-friendly website, so you can look it up on your phone and get a lot of information very fast. It's like an app, and you can still get it online as well on your desktop. So that on Saturday.
Yeah.
So if you want to get information, just go to that website, DopplerTimeWeather.com.
All right, sounds good. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, at this time, I'd like to introduce our special guest. He is a pastor from Wayne. He is also the spokesperson for the Tears Foundation and a former contestant on The Biggest Loser. And I'm sure I'm leaving something out. Let's just say he's one busy guy. Also joining him tonight is his wife, Shelby. Welcome, Mr. Buddy Shuh, to the show. Buddy, how are you?
I'm doing good. I think it's fitting I'm here as it's called Talk Shoe.
Yes.
Buddy Shuh. Come on.
Hey.
We misspelled it, though.
It's awesome, though.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, they misspelled it.
That's what I mean.
Right. I didn't even think of that. That's pretty
I
good.
saw it on Facebook. Yeah. you were tagged on that, but I figured you wouldn't get it.
Yeah, maybe I didn't. I don't know. I get it now. Okay. I'm a little slow sometimes. All right. So, Buddy, let's start with the Tears Foundation. Reading your bio, no parent should have to deal with the loss of a child, but unfortunately you and your wife did, and that's where the foundation comes in. Can you tell us a little bit about Tears, your relationship with them, and what services they provide?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me start off in general with what we try to help people with. Mm-hmm. It's a nationwide organization, though it's confined by each state, meaning that Michigan is pure Michigan. So we raise funds in Michigan to help only Michigan families. And if we don't have funds, it doesn't matter if another state doesn't, Michigan families don't get helped. And who we help are families who lose an infant anywhere from 20 weeks gestation all the way up to 1 year old. An infant dies. And if a family doesn't have the funds to pay for the casket or grave marker, then Tears comes alongside them and we pay for those items for them. We also offer peer companion support. We try to help these people walk through. It's just a horrible moment in life, and so we try to help them financially and emotionally. So this is, in general, what we do. Our connection, you were asking about to Tears, really starts out of our own experience. We lost a daughter in 2006. Shelby, want to tell people about Bella?
Okay. So in 2005, we were pregnant with our second daughter, and we went in for our 20-week ultrasound to find out if we were having a boy or girl, and we found out some very horrible news that she had some major issues going on. She had spina bifida, a very severe case, and also she was missing some other organs and a lot of different issues going on. So very hard moment for us, and we saw the pregnancy through, and she was born, and she lived for 5.5 months and then passed away. And it's something you don't ever dream of or write up in your dream of your life that you would ever lose a child. And it was
You're not supposed to bury your kids.
No.
It's unnatural.
It's just not natural, right?
Unimaginable, and like the hardest thing you would ever have to deal with. And So, you know, we were young. We only had our older son, who was 2 at the time, and we didn't have money saved up or anything like that. So then we have to go to the funeral home and have to take care of all those arrangements. And how do you have money to?
Yeah, so this is right about when the economy was tanking, and I was a teacher at a private school. Well, your discretionary income, everyone's leaving the school. So I was actually in the process of not only my daughter was passing away, but I was losing my job. The school was closing down that I was teaching at, and so we didn't have the money. And so you're sitting there trying to deal with just the grief part of things, and you don't have the money. The hardest conversation I've ever been is sitting across from that funeral director and saying, and just sitting there going, I don't know how to do this. I've got 3 days. I was saving for a crib, not a casket.
Right.
You know?
I read that. Yeah, that really hit home right there.
Yeah. I mean, and so it turns out that we're not alone. We looked up some numbers in the state of Michigan, and typically just in our age range, about 800 babies a year are dying. Just in that age range. And because of the youngness of the couples that are having these babies that are losing them, half of those people don't have the money. Last year we had 432 just in Wayne County that lost a child that was under a year old, and about half of those people didn't have the money for their own baby's funeral. And so that's really what we're trying to do, is to help those people, because it's crushing emotionally, and then to think you don't have the money to bury your child, it's just horrible.
So how did you get in touch with Tears? I mean, how did you,
so
how did they help you?
Well, we went through it, and we were just really fortunate and blessed. Our family and friends, when they just came to our rescue, and they paid for our funeral. We had the money we needed in 2 days. Just people out of the goodness of their hearts paid for it. And something clicked inside of me and says, that is amazing. And someday I want to be over there on the other side of that table. And we didn't know what to do with it, though. I didn't know how to start a nonprofit. My wife and I talked about it, and we just went and we bought a domain name called Love Never Quits.
Okay.
And we said, and then we kind of stalled out. And then all of a sudden, my life got in a spin. After my daughter died, I didn't deal with the stress great. And I wound up putting on 100 pounds. I was already heavy. I was already 330 to 350 pounds. And I put on another 100 pounds after her death. And so...
And that's how you grieved. I mean, that's just was part of your grieving.
Yeah. A lot of people, it's probably a control thing. You're looking for joy in those little moments where you get to eat and feel like you got control
Comfort
back
food,
of your life,
yeah.
comfort food. And so so that actually spun me into this business with The Biggest Loser.
Okay.
We've got several years later, and I had a moment where I go, I've got to kind of get in shape, because I thought about the sad part about my daughter dying. The part that really just crushed me as a dad was thinking, I'm not going to get to walk that girl down the aisle one day. And a couple years later, though, I had 2 more little baby girls, and I'm looking at them, and I was 450 pounds, and I go, I got to do something, because I got to be there for these girls.
For them, yeah.
So that kind of started me down this path of getting on The Biggest Loser. So on the show Biggest Loser, the story comes out about my daughter. We're halfway through. We're like 10 weeks in, and I talked about her. And I talked about not being able to pay for the funeral, and they aired it. So it turns out there's an organization called Tears, and the founder lives in Washington, state of, and she doesn't watch the show, but strangely enough tuned in that one episode.
Oh, my gosh.
She's in the bed with her husband, and she goes, oh, my gosh, that guy Buddy, who's that? Like, it's like he has the same life as us.
Wow.
So 14 years ago, she had lost her son, Jesse, and was not able to pay for the funeral. And so out of that grief, she started the foundation, the Tears Foundation. And, she's also friends with somebody else who had been on the show. And all the alumni of the show, we all keep in touch. We have separate Facebook groups.
Oh, okay.
And so we've got a network. And we try to support each other once you're off the show
great.
and cheer each other on. We go speak at each other's deals. And so she reached out to her friend, connected us, and we talked for about 6 months, and I decided I wanted to start the Michigan chapter of Tears.
Okay.
So that thing I wanted to start came to fruition, but I just joined another organization.
So this chapter in Michigan is yours then, your chapter?
Shelby and I are co-presidents. We are the leaders of the Michigan chapter. Anyone in Michigan is eligible. You're in the Upper Peninsula because of what we're doing here. Everything's coming out of Wayne County right now.
Okay.
Everything's local because we're local and all our volunteers are local and all the fundraising's local, but it's a Michigan thing, and we're hoping to help anyone in the state who has this need.
So all money raised stays right here in Michigan.
Yep.
So, what was I going to say? How are you guys funded then? It's all strictly donations?
100%. Everyone who's works for Tears, we're volunteer.
Okay.
So there's no pay at all. All our overhead, we do a phenomenal job as a nonprofit. We're with all the printing and stuff that we have to do, we're functioning on 20%, and 80% goes straight to families.
Okay.
So someone gives us $100, 80 goes straight to a Michigan family.
So do you deal directly with the funeral home, or do you deal directly with the parents?
So let's say a Michigan family loses a child and they need some help. They'll actually go on the website and apply online through the state of Washington. That's where the office is. And they'll get the office in Washington will contact the funeral home and release the funds to them.
Oh, okay. So they release it right to the funeral home.
So our job here, what we do is we raise the money.
Okay.
We do the fundraisers.
Okay.
Yep. Our big deal is something every year called a Rock and Walk. And we have a team, Team Bella, in honor of our daughter. We walk in memory of our daughter.
Okay.
We've got 45 people signed up just on our team this year to walk in September.
Where's that take place at?
Plymouth Christian Academy.
Okay.
Yep. September
13.
13.
Yeah, give it a plug.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so we walk, and it's a 2-hour walk, and people can come, and we raise funds for that, and that's our big deal. So it's a walk. We actually line the track with these butterflies that we hand make with the kids' names who have passed away.
Oh, wow.
So you're actually walking amidst that, and in the middle of the track are rocking chairs, and people can rock in memory of the daughters. You got grandparents that come out, and it's a really the people that go. It's a really healing. It's a beautiful time,
though.
pretty
Wow.
emotional. We do a balloon launch at the end. People write notes to their child that they're missing. And so it's kind of cool because the people that go get some healing, and all the funds we raise, it's going to help someone who's further back on the
So now, is there a certain income that these people have to meet? I mean, or is it for, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know. Again, the state of Washington takes care of all that, but they do have to apply and show need. They're going to encourage you to even check with your family and friends first, because there's so many people that absolutely have no outlet.
Right.
And Wayne County has such a great need, because we've got a lot of people say the ones we're helping are coming right out of Detroit. And they're not having the family and friends that could pitch in, and so they do try to encourage anything they can for you to try to fundraise first.
Well, we know about the need because just last week's guest, the amount of people that they get, it's just incredible.
Yeah, so just in Wayne County, you got 215 last year. A baby's funeral goes for $1,000 to $1,500. So you're at $250,000 in need just in Wayne County for baby funerals of people that don't have the money.
Now, I've heard where some funeral homes will waive that for a family if they lose an infant. Is that true?
Yeah, we have heard of one funeral home of a family that they lost a child, and they just were like, we're not charging you anything. And
Wow.
where our daughter, our funeral home, we had to pay, but the cemetery that we buried our daughter at, they don't charge to have any babies buried at their cemetery, so that's why we buried our daughter there, because we didn't have money. And they were like, we feel like no parent should ever have to lose a child, so we are just giving this.
Wow, that's a
guys,
tremendous burden
wonderful.
that's lifted off the
Yes.
family right there.
What a huge blessing and ministry that is that they give, to
Wow.
the families.
Yeah, we're connecting. Michigan's only been around for a year now.
Okay.
And we're connecting with different organizations that kind of we're linking. You have, there's one organization that comes and tries to take pictures when a baby dies. Because as a parent, the last thing on your mind when your child dies is like, oh, I know, I should get a photographer in here right now.
Right.
But I can tell you a year from now, one of the things that's going to be the most precious to you are those pictures.
Yeah.
And so we're connecting with them. We've got another organization that is collecting wedding gowns and actually re-sewing them, repurposing them into burial gowns for these little girls.
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
So you've got just different things, just trying to help out in any way we can. The main thing, kind of from my end, is raising money. From my wife's end, she really likes making those peer companion calls. She loves trying to talk to people and deal with the emotional side of things. And I like to really help them because I understand the financial burden is just overwhelming.
Yeah, because you guys provide a support groups too, right?
Yeah, so
big time. I mean,
so different states actually have groups where they'll meet once a week. What we do is peer companion, which is so if you lost a child, for the father, I would call you and say, and we would just talk you through it, walk you through it for a year, and be your friend, be a peer, and tell you. We learned a lot about grief versus mourning. Grief is what happens inside, and mourning is like you got to have an expression of that. And so we try to help people to have healthy expressions of their grief.
And you two lived through it. I mean, so you can definitely relate.
We can relate and connect. And one of my big passions is being there for those families that have lost a child, because it's something that not everyone can understand. And
right.
For me, when we lost our daughter, I didn't have that connection of people that had gone through that. So it's huge to me now to be able to be there for those families and offer that help, and just walking alongside and saying, I know, you're not crazy. It's going to be okay.
Yeah,
and,
that's huge.
We don't currently have a group, but in the future we want to have a group, support group. But there are also groups all over the local area that provide it, that people can connect with, and we can get them connected with those. So.
Yeah, and there's certain things that you just when you go through something, your eyes are opened and people relate to you a little better. Like I understand when I meet you, like you said it earlier, it's very unnatural to have your child go before you, and it's very natural. I just meet you for you to go, hey, how many kids do you have? Well, you don't understand how awkward of a question this is for me. Because I've either got to tell you I have 4, which is how many I have at home, or I've got, and if I do that, I feel like as a father, like I'm denying my own daughter. Or I've got to tell you the most private thing, the most hurtful thing, and open that can up, like the very first time I meet you. I've got 4 living and one's in heaven. One has passed away. And it's like, so it's this awkward thing that these people go through.
Yeah.
And there's an understanding and a community that forms out of that. Yeah.
You also help with headstones and grave markers and.
Yep.
Yes, we do grave markers, and I think it's wonderful because, like I say, when you have living children, you get to say their name and talk about them all the time. But when you have a child that's passed away, you don't always get an opportunity to say their name or to see their name on the grave marker. And we were just actually able to help someone reached out to Tears, I think about 6 months ago, very early on when we first started our chapter. And Sarah Slack, who's the founder of Tears Foundation in Washington, she sent us an email and she said, we had an application of a family member sent us an email asking for a grave marker assistance for her brother who had passed away like 30 or 40 years ago, and her mom never got to have a grave marker.
Never had the money.
Yeah,
Wow.
And she said, it's up to you guys if you want the money from your chapter to go for that. And I said, absolutely. For sure, that baby deserves a grave marker.
Yeah.
That mom needs
That's
to be able
awesome.
to see her child's name. And so, so we do grave markers. So we help in all different aspects to be able to, make that life valuable and meaningful for the family, that they can remember, yes, your child was important and is important to you, and we want to honor that.
That's great. So, if people want to contact you to donate or volunteer, how do they go about doing that?
Probably the best way is to connect with me on Facebook, Buddy Shuh.
Just look for Buddy Shuh?
Yep, and that's
SHUH.
Correct. And that's the best way. I put the, I'll put up my Team Bella thing. People want to sign up for my team. Also, just people who are looking for assistance. We've only been in Michigan a year. Most people haven't heard of this.
So you're still growing. You're still new.
We have right now
learning
$3,500 in the bank, ready for people to be helped with.
Oh wow, awesome!
So it's just a matter of connecting. People that are hurting need to somehow find out about this organization.
Yeah, and one of the big things too is we just want to get the word out that there is this foundation that does help, so that people just are aware and know of Tears. This is what we do. This is how we want to help. So everybody share it, shout it from the mountaintops. So
yeah. Exactly, because that's a big help for these families. Richard, anything?
So your children and their grandparents, how are they with all of this? I mean, I know that this is different than Tears necessarily, but since we're talking about it, how as a parent, can you share in the healing for your kids? A couple that didn't even know Bella, for obvious reasons, and grandparents. Does your group assist in that way at all?
Very good question. Personally, our group does not have a system set up for that currently. We offer any kind of assistance we can as far as peer companion. None of our kids actually met their sister.
Okay. I thought Bella was your first.
Isaac was our first, but he was actually there on the birthday, and because of the circumstances, it was like there were like probably 20, 25 doctors in the room when she had her, and then we kind of sought some counsel out, and people said, well, for this kid that's like 1, this might be really freaky, and so it turns out we never took him in. He never like physically met her, but the conversations come up, and they're very it's very strange to me because they never met her, but
they want to know about her.
They have emotions too.
Yeah.
My kids will have these little moments where they cry and go, oh, my sister, and they'll ask me, I mean, I'm a pastor, and they ask questions I can't answer about. The kids ask the toughest heaven questions I've ever heard of. So
wow.
We go and see my son wanted to see Heaven Is For Real. And really, the whole time he's thinking about his sister. That movie, like, what is she going to look like now? What these kind of questions. And so, we do the best we can. We do things to celebrate her. So on her birthday and her death day, we try to go down to Ronald McDonald House.
Okay.
My wife and I stayed there for about 5 weeks when we first had her. It's right there in Children's Hospital in Detroit, in DMC. It's like in the parking lot. So we live there. And wonderful organization. If you're in McDonald's, you shouldn't be. This is from a Biggest Loser. However, if you're in McDonald's, drop some extra change in that little bucket, because that's really what they do. Is they house parents whose children are in Children's Hospital.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so we paid. It was $10 a day for basically a really nice hotel room down there. We wound up leaving after about 5 or 6 weeks because we said, well, we're just going to drive to Detroit every day and see our daughter because in 1 week, 3 families lost their child. And it became really hard on us to try to hope for ours while watching other people's children die.
Being around that, right.
So, but on our daughter's birthday and death day, we actually go down, and as a family with our grandparents and the parents and the cousins, we go down and serve a meal down there.
Oh, that's nice.
And we find it just more of a healthy way of dealing and grieving, and like you said, the relatability factors there. Like the people that are staying at Ronald McDonald House are in the hardest place ever. Half the people that are there right now are about to lose their child. It's a dark place.
Yeah.
And but when we go down there, we just kind of go, this is why you're here. Well, we're here to serve you a meal because we were here, we lived here, and we lost our daughter. And all of a sudden, they can talk to somebody.
Yeah.
They've got like
they find that comfort in.
You know what I'm feeling right now. And so we do that a couple times a year, and we take the family down there, and the kids go down, and we show them the room we stayed in, and it's a great experience to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the Rock and Walk last year was awesome because that was the first time we've done anything like that, and it was really cool because our whole family came together and was there, and we were able to talk about Bella and what she meant to us, and it was like having her birthday. Like, you have a birthday party for your other kids. Everybody comes together. Everybody brings a present. It's all about them for that day. So it was all about Bella for that day. And it was really cool that all of our family was there. It was just a really healing moment. And so I think by having that every year, like Richard, like you asked, that's one way we can bring our grandparents and the siblings together. So we're looking forward to that and planning that this year.
It's like we're saying it's okay to talk about her, because it's,
absolutely.
You have pictures of your kids up at your house.
Yeah.
And so do we. But, so what do you do with the one that passed away?
You don't want that child to be the forgotten one.
No,
right. And but you also don't want it to be the one that's only featured and the other ones.
Right, exactly. You have to really.
So by having the ceremonial type things, you can go, okay, this is the time, this is the appropriate place. Let's all. So at the Rock and Walk, we bring all our pictures. We set up like a little memorial.
And your other kids are there, right?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
All the cousins.
That's where everybody's included then.
Yes.
That's
and it's
good.
wonderful.
We had 30 people from our family, just ours. And we had how many kids were honored last year that they walked in memory of?
I think we had 5 or 6.
5 different families that went and said they had lost a child. And again, we had 2 months to prepare last year. And so this year we already have 15 people that have said, we lost a child and we want to do this. We want to walk in memory and come and celebrate the life. And
so this is your second Rock and Walk
Yep.
this year?
Yes.
Okay.
And
Cool.
So
one of the things too we're planning on doing is having a time or something special that the siblings can do for in honor of their brother or sister, some sort of a craft or something that they can have some time, because I know our kids, they love to talk about their sister and
Yeah, it's kind of cool because you think rock and walk, dead children, again, it's so unnatural. You think, oh my gosh, how somber with this thing. And there are some somber moments. At the very beginning, we have a ceremony and we go, if you're here to walk in memory of Bella, please raise your hand. And it's just kind of moving. People going, yes, I'm here for her. But then, you know what was awesome? I didn't anticipate this. This was our first time. Was all the other kids, it was just, they brought life. And so this year, like, we're going to have a bounce house. The kids play. And the kids, it's like it brings back and goes, oh, yeah, it's okay. We're like, even with my daughter that passed away, we're not like sitting here to be sad about her death. No, we're celebrating her life.
Yeah.
And the best way we can honor her life is to live and to go for it. So, and the other kids just get that.
That's good. That's good. Now, the Rock and Walk is when? August?
September 13th.
1 to 3 at Plymouth Christian Academy.
Which is in Canton. And if you go to the tearsfoundation.org,
it's on there.
The website, and you can go to the Michigan chapter. All the information is there.
Okay.
Great opportunity.
Awesome. All right, well, let's switch gears here a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Buddy Up Fitness.
Okay.
And, Richard, you can relate because you're so buffed.
Ooh, Mr. October.
Had to get ready for that photo shoot, Yeah, so the Biggest Loser and its success personally and the things that you wanted to share with the community. I recollect that you and Mayor Wild had a conversation and that evolved into something that the town just really embraced for 2 years.
Yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about how you got there and what's happened, and then if there's something in store for next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
As well.
So when I got home, I was struggling with the fact that I'm still not perfect. Like I'm not
Shelby's laughing.
I'm not Dolvet, who was my trainer on Biggest Loser. Wait, you're supposed to say no. You are, honey.
Right.
No love here. Just a pair of shoes. All right, so I'm sitting here like right now I probably weigh 280, and I need to be 220, 230. That's right. And so you're kind of going, well, I've got a long way, my own personal journey, all me. And I was sitting there and I was going, I don't want to be like falsely humble. Like I've come a long way with help, and I've had like some very good help, some very good hints. And so I started thinking about it, and I go, I would really like to just volunteer in my own community. And so I don't really know how to do that. I was kind of new to this. And so I just went up to the mayor of Westland. I walked in the office, and there was 2 female clerks sitting there. Just showed up, cold call. I go, I'd like to set up a meeting with the mayor. They go, okay, what's this about? And I go, well, I don't want to sound cocky or anything. I don't know, but my name's Buddy, and I was on Biggest Loser. If it means something to you, I'd like to volunteer to endorse your passport health program.
Okay, yeah.
One of the ladies jumped out of her seat and in the mayor's office yells, God works in mysterious ways. And I was just like, lady, I work in a church.
Send me.
Send me right. Yes. I work in a church and you made me mess myself. What are you talking about? And she's like, well, we've been talking about this passport program, and we've been thinking like we're going to emphasize it again this year. And we had a meeting last week, and we decided it just needed a driving force, and we thought maybe it should be you, but we didn't know how to get in contact with you. And I said, well, that is kind of strange.
That is.
So we started meeting. We started talking about
Were her toes crossed when she said that?
Lori, if you're out there, no one can understand you. So we started meeting. We started talking about it, and Mayor Wild is going, "Hey, I'm into this. Let's help some people. What can we do?" And I said, "Well, here's what I do. You've got a connection with the local hospital. I'd let this be a big partnership. Let's combine the citizens with the hospitals, with the government, with the churches, with the businesses. Let's have everybody be part of it. Hospital comes in, weighs in people, maybe does a blood pressure check. They help out with their. I would bring in local trainers. There'd be a 30-minute workout session because here's my thing is.
Well, you had a real vision, didn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Like the whole community deal.
Yeah.
Let's get everybody involved. And I said, I believe if you're going to be healthy exercise-wise, you got to find something you love to do. So let's go get professionals. And we'll find different genres of exercise. Every week they get to try something different. with the professionals in this area. And I'm going to encourage them, find the one you like, and then go connect with them. Go do the Zumba if you like it. Go do the weights if you like it. So, and then I said, then let's do a 30-minute nutritional piece. That's really the missing piece in most people's health plan.
Yeah.
They'll go start exercising, and especially with weight loss, I'd say probably 80% of it's going to be in your diet. And so I said,
but after doing all that, you have to reward yourself with some ice cream.
Yeah. Cancel it all out.
Yeah, in the toilet.
Yeah, so we said, okay, and I told them, I go, here's the deal. Honestly, I'd like to do this all for free. Let's get everyone to volunteer. And not only free, let's every week give them something. So,
a real community service.
Yeah, let's not just let's get the businesses involved in like because if I tell you I say I've got this spinach shake you should try, and you're like, yeah, right.
Yeah, fat chance.
But if I don't tell you if it's a spinach shake and I go, here, try this, and you like it, and it is a spinach shake, then you'll drink it.
And it doesn't look like pesto.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I said, let's get like the businesses, Kroger, to get involved and sponsor this thing.
Sure.
And, so that's what happened.
They were on board.
Yeah. And last year we kicked it off, and I remember talking to the deputy mayor, and he's going, we've got Jade. 400 people. Yeah, Jade. He's like, we've got 400 people registered. If half the people show up, this will be the best thing we've done with this health. Like, this will be incredible success. Yeah. 400 registered, 440 showed up.
Oh my gosh.
The president of the hospital was there for the kickoff, and he came to me and he goes, buddy, I don't understand. We run programs for obese people, but they won't come. And I go, yeah, there's probably something about, a loser. that they go, I haven't been in shape my whole life, and I'm still not perfect, that they go, maybe I can relate with him. Maybe he'll understand. And so we've had phenomenal success. We ran it last year. Probably 250 people were still around. We ran a 5K at the end of it. Since last year, I've had at least 3 people that have kept off 80 pounds that I know of. This year we ran it in same sort of numbers. We were about 400 opening day. And this was crazy. The opening day this year, I go, here's the deal. I'm going to encourage you guys to do a full triathlon. And they're like, triathlon? Is that like 3, so ice cream, pasta, and 3 events? Is this like man versus food? I'm like, no, you don't understand. We're actually going to exercise now. Oh. And I said, so I'm talking about 112 miles bike, a full marathon on foot, and 2.5 miles in the pool, a full triathlon. They're looking at me like, this guy's lost his mind. We came to the thing because we thought this was for really heavy people, not for people who are already in shape. And I said, well, here's the deal. I'm going to cut you some slack. I'm giving you 6 weeks to finish it. So a marathon is 26 miles. So do 2 miles a day walking. And then do the swimming in 2 weeks. And
until they meet that.
I got to tell you, we took, of those opening people that were doing nothing, we had 91 people complete a full triathlon in 6 weeks.
They did it for the free T-shirt.
It was. They got a T-shirt that says,
so
I
you
tried.
Did that? You did that, Richard?
Negative.
He did the other triathlon.
I admired those who did.
And Cheryl is part of this too, right?
Yes. And it was actually fun. I mean, it really was. There was
how
a lot
often?
Of camaraderie.
How often is this?
So we've run it 2 times. It was the first time we ran it was last year. It was a 12-week program in January.
Okay, 12 weeks.
And this year was the same. It was 8 weeks though.
And it's usually in the winter, like?
Yeah, January, February starting. And
now let me ask you this:
Yep.
For someone like myself, I have ankylosing spondylitis, which is a curvature of the spine. It's a form of arthritis. Do you have, or are you considering any kind of low impact exercise for those? I have COPD too. I'd love to exercise, but I just can't do, the jumping jacks and the.
It's true. So what I encourage, first of all, we encourage a lot of people to get over to the community center, Wayne Westland Community Center, because they've got a pool.
Okay, yeah.
Even for a lot of people, the heavy people
Aquatics,
I'm dealing with, the joints.
Yeah, they say that's really good.
Go jog in the pool. Go walk in the pool. It's very good on the joints. The other thing is all the trainers I bring in, I ask them to modify everything. So they bring 1 or 2 people with them, and before they begin the exercises, they go, okay, this person's going to be the easy, this is the medium, this is the hard. And so, for example, push-ups. I couldn't do a push-up when I started in 2011, not even one. And so we've got 3 levels of a push-up. Might be, okay, one of them, if you're at the beginning stages, stand up next to a wall and just push off the wall. Step 2 will be down on your knees, doing a push-up. Step 3 is get off your knees and you're just on your hands and feet. So every exercise we do has some modifications, and we encourage people to modify even more.
Yeah, because, I mean, there's a lot of people that have the arthritis, the bad knees, you know, the breathing issues.
Yep.
So, you know, if you can incorporate that to
there.
include them.
They were there,
Yeah.
by the way.
Okay,
There
They
were
all
a fair
come to
number
the-
of people that attended.
good.
Yeah,
That's
with
good.
various levels
Awesome.
of activity.
So it runs, what, roughly 12 weeks, you said?
8 weeks it
Oh,
was
8.
this
Okay.
year. And so we're looking at, we haven't made any definitive plans for next year because we're watching what happens with the election. The
okay.
mayor of Westland is running for Wayne County Executive.
Right.
And so if that goes through, it's very possible this health program could go countywide. I've had a couple other people kind of approach me through Livonia, Garden City, saying, hey, could we do this? And I'm going, well.
No.
Get other communities involved, right?
Get out.
Garden City, yes.
Maybe Garden City. Yes.
Well, the one I run, I do volunteer, and it's so extensive that I got to take a break after it. So I've
sure.
told them, but what we're doing is we're putting everything online. So what Westland's doing is posting all the recipes and all that right on their website, City of Westland, and then also I'm going, hey, I don't mind helping you kick it off, or bringing some of the people in, but it would have to be a program you'd pay for.
And this is at the Friendship Center held?
Yep. Both years, that's where our church that I pastor meets out of. And so we've kind of got the sound system down and stuff that you're working with, know the building a bit. And so, yeah.
So from experience, Richard.
Well, first I'd say it's almost too successful because the parking lot is full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was pretty amazing to me. Because
And this is no cost?
0.
Wow.
Yeah, residents and non-residents, by the way.
Yeah.
But
That's-
I think what you see there is, just from my experience, the first week, you have a lot of people that know each other, some that don't. Some people are checking others out, just saying like, yeah, I'm not sure about you, whatever, type of thing. But all of that is like lost right away. And when Buddy talks about the two different components, the exercise and the nutrition or the diet,
Right.
you're in different groups and you switch off.
Okay.
And so you're doing this for the first half hour this week, you're doing the other for the first half hour next week. But there's time to congregate before and after, which is cool. And
Yeah, eating habits and nutrition, I mean, that's a huge part of it.
Yep.
Huge.
Well, I find
Probably just cutting down on portions, right? Just doing that.
Well, so we have teams too. So on the very first day, you're put on a team. We have team captains that kind of try to help encourage you. And day one, we say, okay, you know what you need to do is just start paying attention. And we give them a free website, MyFitnessPal, where people can log their food. You know what I find? Most people don't even need. I had people lose weight the first week, and we hadn't told them anything else. Just start paying attention to what you're eating.
And they have all these apps on the
it is
cell
an
phone.
app.
MyFitnessPal is
Right,
an app.
okay.
And I just found most people, when they have to punch in that they ate 42 Oreos, realize when they see the calories that maybe that was a bad choice. And they
42, really?
Yeah. 42 sleeves.
That is bad?
Yeah. So they just start naturally making better choices when they start paying attention.
Right,
And so let me
right.
also say that there are some folks who go there and they wish that their son, daughter, spouse would, but don't for various reasons.
Well, that's another thing I was going to bring up is getting the kids involved.
Well, so
Because
our
you
eldest
really
son,
have to at a young age.
At
I mean,
that time, he was in his the work environment consumed his Saturdays at that time. So what Cheryl, my wife, said is, well, at least download that app and track what you're doing.
Be amazed.
So while we were in this and we were doing a little bit of exercise and having some fun and losing some weight, our son did it
Okay.
without the exercise,
Wow.
strictly with that app, and he lost more weight than we did,
Are you serious?
which was pretty cool.
That is.
Yeah. So
Wow.
he was a participant that you've never met, I don't think.
Yeah.
But benefited from the things that were brought to our community.
Yeah, that's great.
And I guess I would just conclude by saying one of the neat things is that there are people there that have been through varying stages of all of this, motivational conversations that they're willing to share and whatnot, including some of Buddy and Shelby's friends, colleagues that were on the show. And it was a pretty big deal. The closing ceremony and all of the recognition and the actions that occurred there, it was actually pretty darn moving.
Wow.
And I know that, it's hoped that it'll be that way, but you can't script it. It just happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best.
Our closing ceremony, you got people that for their whole life, like myself, you've been feeling like this area of your physical health is a failure. And it's pretty cool to recognize them. And I had my team captains actually nominate people on their teams to give them awards. And I didn't even expect this for myself, but I had all the trainers come up front, and I had some friends come in who were on Biggest Loser with me. They actually drove in for the ceremony.
Your brother was on, right?
Yep.
With you.
Yep. But I had friends come from out of state. 2 friends from out of state came in for this program. And they made like this arch. And we had the people run through the tunnel to get their awards. And I saw a couple people break and start crying as they came through because here it was something that they felt like a failure at, and they're getting recognized for their achievement.
It's a big deal, yeah.
So that was kind of cool. And then also just
gives them that self-confidence back, and should be proud.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, because they're probably like me where they're going, I'm not a trainer yet. I still got all this weight I got to lose still. But, no, I want to sit here and celebrate the fact that I did
you've come
something.
a long way, though.
Yeah. It's a big difference if you look at the pictures.
Yeah.
At the concluding thing, too, kudos to we're talking big-time star. I texted Dolvette, who's the star of the show, the trainer.
Yeah, that was cool.
And I surprised everybody. I didn't tell him. And so in the middle of the ceremony, I go, I want you guys to walk out of this buddy up thing, like, motivated. And I got a friend that maybe you've heard of, but he couldn't be here today. And live Skype, Dolvette pops up on the screen.
No way.
People just started freaking out. And they're pulling out their phones. And I'm going, you're videoing a screen. It's just like videoing TV. But it was cool.
So that's a great segue into The Biggest Loser. I mean, I'm sure you use your name and you've used being on The Biggest Loser. I mean, if it opens doors, right? Why not?
Absolutely.
So your experience on Biggest Loser, I mean, did it changed your life? It had to. I mean,
yeah. Probably the biggest thing now that's different, is the open doors that you get to, I get to lead a health program. That's crazy to me still.
Right.
Like it's insane. I was 450 pounds 3 years ago. Like I was we started in this new church going, well, what is this thing, Westland? And here we are running health like, what? This makes no sense. So that's a big time change. My physical health, even though, again, I'm just really working at it every day, but my blood pressure was 190 over 110.
Oh, my gosh.
My waist, the measurement circumference-wise, was closing in on 70 inches, almost 6 feet around.
Holy cow.
So, Shelby was putting my socks and shoes on for me because I couldn't get there.
So you owe a lot to this woman, too. I mean, obviously, this is a great support system, has to be.
Unbelievable. I mean, in coming off the show,
yeah,
mandatory. House divided, can't stand. Like if she didn't support me, I'd already be 450 again. You need her. When I left, check this out. We have 3 small kids, and my wife was pregnant. And I go to her and I go, I'm going, I don't really want to. Honestly, I didn't want to.
This guy thinks everything's funny.
I'm one of the few people that I know who honestly did not want to go on the show. My brother said, hey, you want to go? And I go, I'll go try.
And the reason being?
The reason being, when I was doing all right. I had lost 40 pounds on my own, and I didn't want to take my shirt off in public. Okay. I was the most athletic kid in my high school, 3,500 kids. I got the award.
Yeah, you played football.
Ohio State, wrestled, state champion. And
Ohio State, we won't hold that against you.
Yeah. Wow. Everywhere I go. I got literally this
boy, oh boy.
I got booed at a funeral when I said I like Ohio State. I go, only in the Big Ten can a pastor get booed at a funeral.
That's a rough crowd.
Yeah,
that's
wow.
a rough crowd.
I said, man, his blood lives in you guys. So I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, these kids, I've disappeared, and they remember me as the most athletic. I don't want them to see me obese.
Yeah.
And so, but I go to her, and I'm like, hey, what do you think about this whole deal? And she goes, well, let me think about it. And I go, she's not going to say good, because I want to stay home. And this is when they wanted me to go out there, and she comes back to me like a week later. She goes, hey, bud, you know how you like Star Wars? I'm like, who doesn't? And she's like, I was online, and I saw this little line, and it said that every Jedi in training has to overcome like a huge obstacle before he becomes a big Jedi.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you have any idea how hot you are to me right now? Like, you're talking Jedi to motivate me to lose weight? Like, that's wife 101, babe.
Oh, my God,
like,
that's funny.
So I wind up going on the show, and it's totally not what I thought it was going to be. I mean, it was a crazy world where you have no contact with home.
Uh-huh.
So my wife's pregnant, and I can't text her. no talking, no computers, no access to the outside world.
Wow.
I was gone almost a half a year, and you're in pain all the time. You're working out 6 or 8 hours a day.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so the amount of soreness, it never went away. You're just always sore, and so it's just a crazy thing that you go through. Another reason I'm glad though is just those health benefits.
But you have to admit it probably saved your life, right?
Yeah, sleep
Without a doubt.
So it's a tool. Not everyone
Yeah.
who goes on the show honestly keeps it off. As a
Right.
matter of fact, more people who have been on Biggest Loser have put it back on than have kept it off. All of it.
Wow.
And so it is what it is. It's a tool. And just like anybody who's lost weight, a lot of people think you go on the show, you're cured forever.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Oh, it's maintenance.
anyone
Big time.
anyone with weight problems, you got to know some 90+% is mental and emotional.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've got to deal with those things or else it comes right back. So
Yep.
had a couple fun things though, great times on the show. Got to go to Hawaii.
Wow.
Got to learn how to surf from Bethany Hamilton, the girl from Soul Surfer.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Had
yeah,
her
yeah.
arm bitten off by a
Yes.
shark.
Yes.
Okay, so that was
Wow.
just a phenomenal experience. Weighed in that week on the USS Missouri. That was a really special moment for me in Pearl Harbor because 9 months prior, my grandpa, who I was named after, Buddy Shuh, he had passed away. And so here I am on the ship where the treaty to end World War II was, and I'm going, man, this is kind of a cool thing. And then a couple weeks after that, they decided to have us do our big reveal, put suits on and shave you and clean you up. They actually, this is wild, they actually don't let you cut your hair or shave, so you get shaggy.
You do a makeover thing.
So
then.
when you do the makeover, you're like, wow, they're really good looking. Well,
Yeah, because you had the beard going.
I had the
right?
goatee.
Yeah.
Mark, because he's bald, they didn't let him shave his goat the whole time. So he's like ZZ topping it down here. And like when they shaved, I'm like, whoa, that looks weird now. But yeah.
So all in all, I mean, you had some great experiences.
Yeah,
there,
a
no
great
doubt.
thing. Relationships are really the awesome.
And you still keep in touch with some of them?
Yep. Travel and do some speaking and stuff with Mark. Mark and Kim came up for the Buddy Up program. I've been out of the country. We did a mission trip to the Dominican last year with Mark. So,
Oh, wow.
the alumni will go. We're going to go in February and watch the season 16 finale. So we all go a couple days before the live finale, and we all hang out at the same hotel, and we all swap war stories. And we're like this big weird family because most of them you haven't met. You just watch them on TV, and then you all get together, and you find your experiences are so similar. It's like you know each other. So that's kind of cool.
Wow.
And so
you weren't actually voted off. We were talking earlier. You actually walked away from it.
Yep. So my season, there were 20 people. And then I was on the show till the last 5, really a week before they selected the finalists. And myself and Mark separately left the show at the same time. It was a big commotion. Paparazzi camped out. Who's leaving? We heard that actually NBC told people.
Oh, really?
Oh,
So they
yeah.
would be there. Yeah.
So our season
Makes for good TV.
Some people would come at me and go, "Oh, after all they did for you, you did that to them," and I'm going, "I gave them the best ratings of that year."
Yeah.
Like when we left, it was
Yeah.
like I didn't hurt NBC at all, and we're on good terms. So
And the reason you left was
so they were bringing back people that had been voted off the whole year.
Yeah.
And it turns out it was really going to hurt some of those people, and one of them being my brother.
oh
Yeah, so he had come home and he didn't really want to come back. He had misjudged how his Cobra insurance worked, and
Okay.
my brother has 10 kids.
Oh.
And so when I came home for Christmas, I talked to him and he's telling me all this. He's going, "It's so good that I got to leave because I didn't like it and I was going to lose my insurance for all my 10 kids."
Ooh.
So when I heard they were going to make my brother come back, I'm going, well, I got 10 nieces and nephews. Like, you guys don't need to do that. That's kind of like mean. It's like it's not going to help him. And they're going, well, it's part of the show. And I go, well, I can't. At this point, I was so far into the show. The only thing left for me to do was win. And I wanted to. Mm-hmm. It was down to really 3 of us that had a chance of winning, and I had a legitimate shot of winning. And I go,
Wow.
I just told him, I go, listen, I have a hard time thinking I'm going to take money, but I'm really taking it from my nieces and nephews. Mm-hmm. So just don't bring back people who don't want to come back. Bring all the other ones, whatever you got to do. I understand it's a TV show, and they go, no, we're going to make them come back. And I go, well, we kind of it was like a poker standoff. And I go, well, I just want to be clear. If you make them come back, I'm leaving. And they basically said, you're bluffing because we know you could win it. And I wasn't.
Wow.
So they pulled him back, and I wound
So
up
you
leaving
stuck
the
to your
show.
guns.
I stuck to my guns and walked off. And we're all good. NBC, you know, when they do tryouts here, I go and support them. I go to finale, you know. So everything's good.
Well, that's good. Let's see. We got something in here. Biggest Loser is a decent show. Gets a lot of heat, but not bad show to watch to inspire the world to lose weight. That was a comment in the chat room.
Oh, yeah. Biggest Loser took a lot of heat last season at the finale. Did you happen to see that? I'm talking national news. They, you know, it's a weight loss show.
Right.
Okay. Well, the girl who won it last year, she walked out.
Oh, the real skinny one?
Yeah.
I mean, she really looked bad.
She walked out, and it caused a lot of controversy in the national scene. And kind of like, well, she lost almost 60% of her body weight.
Yeah.
And so they took a lot of heat nationally going,
She did not look good.
what about this? Is she anorexic and all these sort of things? And, I mean, the truth of the show is, you know, it's a weight loss show, and she actually did everything by the rules. She was competing in a game to win the game, and she won it.
She won it.
And
you actually saw her a couple days after the weigh-in.
yeah, it's
So
true.
she'd actually bulked up.
Yeah.
When you saw her on TV.
Yeah, one thing that's kind of strange about, like, so if you watch this season, there's a guy who on the weigh-ins is always wearing a cowboy hat.
Okay.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. When you weigh in, what are you wearing? Now,
Nothing.
Thank you. You're like everybody else on the planet. TMI. Now, here you are. Imagine now you're on a game show in front of America. Would you really wear a cowboy hat? No. So the deal is on the show, one of the things that's kind of, you know, staged to some degree is the fact that that's not a weigh-in. You weigh in prior. And then because they know your weights, we don't know our weights. But that way they can line you up in a way just to tell the story more dramatic.
Right.
And so
Exactly.
it's more interesting.
Right.
So,
It's scripted. A lot of it is scripted.
right. Now, the only thing part that comes in is like at finale, it's a couple days before.
Okay.
So when you saw the girl, if you thought she was skinny, well,
Yeah.
understand that she had been drinking and eating for a couple days. People going up to finale have really fasted and sucked all the water out of their system. You know, I mean, you would too. I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
Rachel, she was in it to win it, and she won the $250,000. And you know, unfortunately for her, she just took some heat. I mean, if you see her now, she looks great.
Does she?
Yeah, so she's
Not marketable, though, I imagine.
no. I mean,
No.
Biggest Loser. Basically, you don't see her on any posters.
No,
with Biggest
no.
Loser because, and unfortunately, America looked at her and they said, "You look bad," and they held her accountable for basically competing within the rules and doing the best any participant had ever done.
Yeah, that's true.
By almost 5%, she beat the second best person ever, and she really didn't get rewarded. She won her prize. She won $250,000. Mm-hmm. And, well, the government won most of that. You know,
Yeah,
so,
yeah, right, exactly.
but she doesn't get the endorsements and stuff that the other people did.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And then we talked about the medical staff. There isn't a doctor on staff, you said.
So they have we call him
site.
Dr. Hollywood, Dr. Huizenga.
Yeah,
With
Dr.
his
Hollywood.
blonde curly locks.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Dr. H. So he's the official doctor of the show, and he's the one basically week one. Week one, you go in and basically you're super obese. Guess what? You have problems. So they make you
No
go sit
kidding.
down with the doctor and cry. So basically, you sit down with Dr. H week one, and he goes, "Hey, how about this? You have the internal organs of a 742-year-old." And you're like, "Yeah, I know, I'm horrible." And so that's kind of week one. Paint the really bad picture.
Oh, my God.
But it's not like he's there. He actually has a practice in Hollywood. So he's running his doctor's office.
Yeah.
Now, there is a person there called a medic who's on staff all the time. And he, like, ices you, and, you know, like, you become really good friends with him.
It's like an EMT then.
Oh, yeah. Like, he was an athletic trainer. He was a professional sports athletic trainer.
Yeah.
So
He
that's,
wrapped ankles, like
yeah.
you said.
You'll actually see him on the show. The first workout's always brutal. And they always show someone falling off a treadmill. Right?
Yeah, always.
So there's about a 5-foot-tall Jewish man catching these 400-pound obese. That's the medic. Why would we put this guy? He's going to die himself catching these people. He's the medic. So that's the guy who's there all the time. He's been on several times. He was on our season, and he wasn't on this past season. They've actually got a different medic now. But yeah, Sandy Crum.
Wow. So you were the heaviest person in that season.
Yep,
13th season.
Our season they downsized. So
They did?
Yeah. So typically, if you would watch Biggest Loser, if you had kept up, the trends were you'd have about 6 guys who were in the 420 to 460 range.
Mm-hmm.
And our season, they go, we're going to do things different. They changed a lot of stuff our season. And they said, America's not identifying with these, so we're going to shrink them a little. So I was 403. I was the only participant that was over 400 pounds. I was 403, and that was the first time that ever happened. My friend Mark, he started the show. He was 291. And that I was like,
Oh my God!
Mark, eat.
Yeah, eat.
I had been on there for. I remember I was on the show for 10 weeks. I was the first person to lose 100 pounds. I was down 109, and I look up at the scale and I go, "Oh, great, 2 more pounds will be at Mark's starting weight." You're a jerk. I was 293 after busting my butt for like 3 months.
Oh my God! You just caught up to Mark.
Yeah, I'm like, can I have your clothes? Because nothing fits me.
Right.
Your old fat clothes are my skinny clothes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
That's crazy.
yeah, they downsized that one.
Oh man. So yeah, a lot of drama they create, for the show.
Yeah, they'll do some stuff. I noticed, because you don't really get to watch it while you're there. That's the thing, right? We started filming in October, and they're airing it in January. So when we go back, I'm already when you were watching the first episode with me on it, I'm already down 110 pounds.
So then, how did you see the episode? Did you DVR it or something for him? Or how's that work?
Yeah, so she's got them all. She has them all taped.
They don't give you any CD
because
or
my
any
kids
DVD.
No, my kids can't see me, so this is the only way they get to see Dad for months.
And we watched it 50 times.
Every week.
Every week. Let's watch Biggest Loser again. I'm like, I can't watch it again. 50 times is enough already.
It's the only time they got to saw you, though,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
See ya.
And it got me through to the next week when I could see him again on TV.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then she got to do the whole White House thing, so that was really a cool
Oh yeah,
moment.
that's right. Yeah, how was that?
She shows up, I'm in a suit, and my son walks in, my 2 sons, and he didn't actually recognize me. 7 years old, because I had shaven. They gave me
Right.
contact lenses, down 140 pounds, and he's like, who's that guy Mom's hugging in the White House? He really didn't recognize me until I
Oh
spoke.
wow.
Yeah.
Then we got to go upstairs, and I kind of had this crazy moment because, again, I just felt like a failure for so long at
yeah.
being overweight.
Right.
And I'm remembering the beginning of the show when I didn't have hope I could lose any weight. I really had failed so much at this. I didn't have any hope. Well, now I'm standing there with my wife and 2 sons, and in walks Michelle Obama.
Oh my
And she
gosh.
gives us each a hug, and she goes, "Buddy, I just want you to know that I work out on Tuesday nights while watching Biggest Loser. You guys are an
I
inspiration."
mean, that had to be kind of surreal, man. I mean, here you are.
I've got the
Oh, my
signed
God.
picture at home.
How many
of
people
us.
are going to see, the White House, let alone the First Lady? And
The
Yeah,
first
yeah.
lady, and I got to stand next to her when we were working out. I was high-fiving her and
Wow.
stuff. It was awesome.
Wow.
Like, what? How does
Fist
this
bumping
happen?
my first
that is awesome.
It was crazy. Even this week, I was in another magazine because they were doing stars who like certain TV shows, and they had a shot of us doing side planks, me and Michelle Obama next to each other, and then next to that, they've got Channing Tatum is a big fan of Biggest Loser.
Oh, okay.
So I'm
Ooh,
like,
I might need
whoa,
to.
whoa, yeah.
You want that magazine, huh?
My wife tells me when I get home, she goes, "Buddy, I think God had you pick Dolvett so I can look at him more." I'm like, I'm real certain God doesn't do that sort of thing, lady. Break up marriages.
Oh, my
Some
gosh.
trainers on TV.
That's funny. So all in all, you enjoyed the experience. So.
Yeah, I would say it this way: I would do it again
Yeah.
in a heartbeat. I'd go again. I'd go through. It was a lot of pain, a lot of agony. I'd do it again. I'd leave again. I like my decision. I stand by it to walk off. We're in good terms. I love NBC.
That's good.
Very thankful for.
So
all
they
they
actually
gave me.
spent a lot of money on you contestants, really, didn't they?
Yeah, so
I mean,
somewhat. They a lot of
fed
people,
you and-
a lot of people ask me that. So how do you survive fiscally?
Right.
And they give you $100 a day plus your room and board.
Okay.
So every time you weigh in, somebody gets voted out and goes home. They're done getting paid.
Okay.
And every time we weigh in, I get a check for all those days up to there, and I would mail it home.
Oh.
And then you get $100 every day, and then your room and board. And so they take care of you that way. And then since I made it to the end, we had those 2 trips. I got a nice suit. I got to go to Hawaii. I got to go to D.C.
You said they gave you contacts?
contacts. I did all that. I mean, the makeover week was they dropped a couple thousand on you. It was easy.
Clothes
the guy who cut my hair is Jessica Simpson's hairdresser.
Really?
Like I care. It's still like a number 2 clip or whatever. You know, the girls are getting all their like fancy stuff. We're done in like 5 minutes out in the car waiting. It's like we're going to church or something.
Yeah, I
like,
wonder what that cost him for 5 minutes shave.
It's that. Well, he's doing it for some advertising.
Yeah,
too, that guy,
I would
so.
imagine. Yeah.
No, that was cool. The trip to Hawaii had to be ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
They flew out
I've never been there.
all the sound guys. They went with us, so they booking all these trips to Hawaii. Now, talk about big money. You got the host, Allison Sweeney.
Yeah.
You got the trainers. Well, those guys, that's a nice gig right there. So they work 3 days a week, right? You got your first workout, your last chance workout, and then the weigh-in day.
Yeah.
3 days, 5-hour days, so 15 hours a week. Well, $350,000 a week.
Now, some of you guys really didn't get along with the trainers. Was that genuine or no?
Oh yeah,
it's just you want to put them through the wall. I mean, but
some of it. This is very hard to explain to people who are not there. But okay, when your workout is 3 hours long, imagine that you're 400 pounds and you got to do a 3-hour workout.
No, I can't imagine that.
Here's a couple other things.
With a EMT standing by.
Yeah, to catch me as I flatten him. So a couple other things. It's 103 degrees in the gym, no air. So you're that big in 100-degree heat.
You're really sweating it.
Now, add in the TV factor was probably the most irritating thing. When you know a guy's like being nice to you, but then all of a sudden we got to like crank it up to give it the TV shot. So you got someone, let's say you're 2.5 hours into a workout, you've been busting your butt, and you go, I got to like get some water. And they're in your face, you don't want it. You don't. And you're
oh.
And you know that you're kind of the guy that they're picking on just for the TV shot.
Yeah.
Knowing that part is just irritating. Like, it's just like frustrating,
I can imagine.
you know? And you do interviews. I mean, people go, what do you do? You either work out, but the other time you're just sitting there. They didn't let you get sweaty. You got to do, 6 hours of interviews for which they're only going to do a 5-second soundbite.
Wow.
But they're just trying to get you all. So
they're long days then.
Oh, the weigh-in that's 10 minutes at the end of the show is 4.5 hours.
Oh my gosh.
So every time you go, okay, buddy, come on up to the scale. You got to pull your shirt up, pause. Okay, sound guy, come over, de-mic him. Okay, now reshoot it. Now walk up there with the boom mic over you.
And all the heat lights and everything on you.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Do you see my jiggle up here? Yeah. And then Allison Sweeney's going to ask you 50 questions. So how'd you feel walking up here? How did you think you did this week? All that, and you got to answer all these questions, but they're not going to air them. Yeah. They're just looking for that one thing.
They're going to edit the heck out of it.
Yeah.
Edit the heck. Yeah. But they got to have it all covered.
They got to have too much.
Now, how is Allison?
Oh yeah, she's great.
Is she good?
Yeah, she
seems pretty genuine.
Even when I was leaving, we had a conversation, and she's going, tell me about this, and I'm going, listen, Allison, she's a mom. And I don't know if you know this, but she's leaving Days of Our Lives this year.
Yep, I heard that.
And the reason is to be a mom.
Yep.
She wants to have more time for her kids, so I really respect that.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I was leaving, we have a child the same age, and I go, tell me about this. And I go, well, I got a 7-year-old son at home now. I'm trying to tell what it is to be a man. I'm trying to help his life. And I want to go home with a clean conscience and say, son, you just never do anything for money unless that you think is wrong. Mm-hmm. I don't care if it's $250,000. And I could see, she almost teared up.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's the mom part of her that's going, man, that's awesome that you just want to train your son for that. So,
and she wants that life.
She is the only star that comes. I told you we get together for the finale and we go to this hotel. Uh-huh. She comes just to hang out with us.
Wow.
She comes, lets us take pictures. She hugs. My son, the 7-year-old, loves her. He's like, Dad, is she married? I'm like,
she got good taste.
She's married. So when my son came to finale with me, I went up to Allison. I whispered in her ear. I go, my son may or may not want to marry you. Can you give him a good picture? She goes, come here. And we got a picture of him and a nice hug with Sweeney. So that's kind of cool. She's real sweet.
He might have a shot.
Yeah,
that's funny. That is funny.
She's real sweet.
She seems real genuine.
Delvette, out of his own time for free, did that Skype call for the Buddy Up thing. So
that's great.
Lots of good relationships from that.
That's awesome. Richard, any questions?
I just have to say, as a member of our communities, that it's interesting how the guy upstairs works. Brings all of this stuff together. Mm-hmm. So through some exceptionally difficult points in our lives, your lives,
Yes.
things happened that spurred you in a direction that then brought you back, helped hundreds and hundreds, and I can say that, of local people to deal with their own difficulties, and yet you still find time to pastor, to be a friend to a lot of folks, to involve yourself in Michigan Tears. You know, it's all good stuff.
Busy guy.
And so, yeah, on behalf of a grateful community, you know, we
Very
say
grateful.
thank you to both of you.
And
Thank you.
you are a pastor at a church. You want to give a shout out to your church?
Yeah, Journey Community Church. We meet at the Friendship Center. We started the church in 2011. A friend of mine and I, Mike Majeski.
So fairly new.
And I turn out I'm one of the worst backsliding pastors in the history of church starting because I missed a half a year of my own church that I started first year.
So non-denomination or?
Non-denominational Bible church, contemporary. You know, we got the band sound,
Okay,
and
okay.
PowerPoint and stuff. So
And
we
food
meet.
and beverage.
Food and beverage?
That's true.
So
Wow, I
We
might
like to
stop
feed
by.
our people. Bagels, coffee.
no, tell them how we tweaked it after Loser, though.
Well, yes, we now have string cheese.
Light
and,
string cheese
and
and
light.
apples.
Organic apples.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yep.
Coffee.
Awesome.
with all
Truvia
the-
sweeteners. Yep.
True.
With all the trimmings. And then we might sneak in some Panera Danishes halfway
Yeah,
through
yeah.
the service.
Oh, okay.
For the mom who really needs one and can't have one for the rest of the week.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
Just started.
started that in 2011. I left, and then even that, it's kind of going well. We just kind of said, "Oh, what are we doing? We want to have this community church." And honestly, when we first started, we're going, "All right, so how do we get involved in our community?"
Yeah.
And we didn't actually have the plan.
Uh-huh.
We had about 40 people we were kind of starting with as a base, and we started the church, and then kind of out of this, the Buddy Up thing has been our major volunteer contribution into our community, where we're really feeling like we're helping people.
Mm-hmm.
We really have had people been able to keep off, one girl, 110 pounds. She ran a sprint triathlon this
Wow.
year. So we've really been able to contribute and get to know people. Again, connecting with the hospital, businesses, other churches.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
so
big.
It's been.
And you meet at the
wonderful.
community, at the Friendship Center.
Yep. We just happened across it. They were closed on Sundays. So
And what's the size of the congregation now, would you say?
I would say summer's down a little bit, about 125 right now.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we've grown a bit, and
Very
yeah,
cool.
it's perfect.
Awesome. Well, look, I don't have anything else, and if you do,
Just thank you.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like our
it's
guest today.
thanks for coming on, sharing your story with us, and you guys should be proud of yourself, for what you do, and we really appreciate what you do for all the communities.
Thank you. Thanks for
Thank
getting
you.
this out. We had it in our heart this year really to do more telling people about Tears and just basically getting the information to people. We figure we don't push it. We figure the people that are supposed to get connected somehow will.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, anything that you ever have, any events or anything, always send it to me through Facebook or email me, and we'll get it out there on the air for you.
Yeah,
We'll
awesome.
do our part and whatever we can do.
Appreciate
thank
that.
you. Yeah.
And you guys come back anytime. All right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Really
Thank you.
appreciate
for
it.
having us.
Yeah,
it
it
was
was
a pleasure
fun.
meeting
You
you.
guys
really.
are funny. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, Richard's funny.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, we really appreciate it, and like I said, come back anytime. And if you guys have to leave, you can stick around if you don't,
Okay.
don't want to. Whatever you want to do.
Thank you.
All right.
so much.
Thank you. All right, Richard. Let's get with you. What do you have for us?
So we're still talking about the jail, the downtown.
Right.
Today, the commission had its monthly meeting, and then after that, we had a meeting of about a couple of hours where we discussed options involving the jail project.
Uh huh.
And it was acknowledged today that we wish to be deliberate, that we wish to be decisive, that we wish to evaluate all of the available information.
Right.
And that's being encouraged from the administrative side as well. So I guess I would hesitate to call it no stone unturned because that may be disrespectful to what happened in the past. But I think truly that the commission appears to be fully engaged, and folks can expect perhaps by the end of summer, because that's a couple of months now, some sort of a decision to be made involving just where do we go from here.
Right.
That really is the biggest thing that's happening in Wayne County right now.
Because I mean, it's dragging out, and people want
Yeah.
they want answers.
Part of the reason it may seem as though it's dragging out is because there are so many different elements now. When the Board of Commissioners made the decision to build a new jail, probably 4 years ago now, before my service, I think that what they were looking at was two options. Do we rebuild what we have, or do we build a new jail? They elected to build a new jail. Today, what we're faced with is an old jail, existing jail, 3 different separate buildings that are jails that are in various stages of disrepair, 2 more so than the third. An incomplete / unfinished new jail. Yeah. And then the state that is very much encouraging a move for all of this to go out to the Mound Road facility on the east side of Detroit. But amongst the things that are being confirmed is that you can't just have a jail. You have to have a justice complex. You have to have the sheriff. You have to have the court. You have to have the jail.
Yeah, there's a lot involved.
Because you can't transport people over the road, so to speak.
Yeah.
And right now it's all done through a tunnel system, literally, from the jail to the court.
Oh, right.
So if you move the jail, 15 miles away, well, it's just not going to work.
No.
So now what we'd be looking at is, well, if you elect to do that, if you do pick up the pieces and move out to Mound Road, now you're talking $600 million for a price tag. And so I'm going to say that, the camp that I find myself in, and I'm not sure who else may be there, is that county taxpayers have suffered financially enough already regarding all of this jail business. And I am not interested. And I wish I could be more open-minded, but I'm really not. I'm not interested in spending $600 million anywhere. So I think for me, it's really going to boil down to, is there a scenario where the jail that's unfinished could be completed? Is there a scenario where you could rehab and renovate the existing jails and perhaps the courthouse, or do you do nothing? Those are the options I think are realistic for me.
So do we know what it would cost to complete this jail that hasn't been finished? Any idea?
We will be having a meeting next week, and under the laws that allow for it, it'll be a closed to the public private meeting where we're going to be discussing the financial components, the lawsuits that are currently being litigated, and the potential for a settlement agreement that could involve the settling of those cases along with potentially some sort of construction project, whether it's to finish the jail or to rehab the others.
Yeah.
We were told again today that, this is something that's going to be discussed privately and confidentially next week.
Okay.
So it's probably a little bit too soon to say. But again, we've been asked to be open-minded, and I do appreciate that. And ordinarily, I would say yes. But open-minded regarding Mound Road at this point, since we now have the third of 3 people that have evaluated and said, look, if you have a jail there, you have to have everything there.
Yep.
$600 million is not something that I will vote to authorize in terms of bonding, tax money. I can give an unqualified no.
Do you have other commissioners that are?
I really don't know.
You don't know?
Because
Okay.
we have not got to that point publicly. I really don't know.
But you're going on record right now that no way.
Well, with the information that I have
That you have.
today, and I have a lot of it. I mean, we all have, I think, the same amount of information. I cannot imagine any scenario where I'm going to be supportive of spending $600 million.
Yeah.
Just not going to do it.
Yeah. No.
We've spent nearly 200. I'm using round numbers, of course, for this incomplete jail. Taxpayers are already on the hook for that. I think that that's more than just unfortunate.
And still costing us money. I mean,
so
thousands.
So to tack on another $600 million.
Yeah.
Even if we sold all the properties that Mr. Gilbert would wish to purchase in Detroit, that's $50 million. That's the offer for all those properties.
Yeah.
So now we're down to $550 million. I just
No.
The state. I will back up a step and say, okay, so now I will qualify it. Something I do not expect to happen. But let's just say that the state says, we'll build it for you.
Okay.
So we are state taxpayers. But Wayne County per se taxpayers would not have solely funded something like that.
Would that be a state prison then?
No,
Okay.
no. But if
Because they're not in the business of being a jail
if the state were to
business.
say, for example, we'll do it so
Mm-hmm.
that we can get ourselves out of the Mound Road situation. Well, maybe that'll open up some possibility.
Yeah.
But under the circumstances that we know today,
Don't see
again,
it.
it's the biggest issue that we're facing right now.
Yeah.
We are involved in the election season.
Right. I was going to bring that up. I mean, that has a lot to do with it too, right?
It could. I'm not so sure about
A
that.
little, maybe.
I'm not sure, really.
Really?
I'm inclined to believe that the only political decisions could be, should this executive have the benefit of a commission decision before Election Day? And I don't see that means anything either way. I really don't. We're close enough now. The election is it's 6 weeks away.
Yeah, not far.
And so it's not far at all. I hesitate when asked if we're going to have it done by then. I just don't think so.
I don't.
I think perhaps the end of August, maybe into September.
So after the
and it'll just be coincidental
primary.
that it's after the election. I can't say with certainty there's no stalling of a vote because of the election. That I
Okay.
know for certain.
Okay.
There's just a number of other things that have to come up yet. And right now, today I would say we probably received about another 100 pages of information. So that brings it up to like 400 pages.
Oh my
There's
gosh.
a lot to go through.
Wow.
And there's
It's
going to be
just
more.
what it is.
There's going to be more.
Yeah.
And there are some elements that the commission, at least on an at-large basis, is not aware of now. We were cautioned today that while some folks would have wished to respond to very specific questions, they couldn't because of the scheduled and anticipated meeting of next week. So we'll see. But that's the biggest thing that's happening in Wayne County right now. Go ahead.
Someone in the chat room wants to know what should be done with Eloise. Tear it down, leave it up for history purposes, and then with the film naturally being shot too with Eloise. Aren't they going to tear that down? Do we know?
Eloise has had buildings that have been demolished in
Right.
the past, of course. There are buildings that are occupied today.
Right.
There are buildings that are very decrepit, and something should occur with them. The old public safety building, for example, is not good. But the sheriff has an office there
Right.
that is very functional.
Yep.
The family shelter is there, is exceptionally functional. The office complex, though, the K Beard building,
Hey, Beard, yeah.
if you go through there, it really, really needs some help. I can tell you that last year, the executive had proposed to move some things out of there and begin to decommission, so to speak, the building. I'm not sure where we're going to be budget-wise with any recommendations or proposals or requests this year, but it's on the minds of some folks. I've had people at both ends of the spectrum recently communicate to me. We think that everything there should be demolished, or we think that everything should
Historical.
be preserved.
Historical site, yeah.
But preservation is financially intensive,
It's costly, very.
and the county is not in a position, absolutely flat out not in a position
Unless the state
to
wants
invest
to do it,
any
right?
money in
Yeah.
the Eloise properties. Zero. That I can say with certainty. The fact that there was a filming there that wrapped up last week or whatever it was.
Now, what about
Okay.
that money?
There's no money there. It's very nominal.
Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing. And, some of the folks that have been very active with Eloise preservation were not at all pleased that filming was occurring. To the extent that they know the storyline, they're not at all pleased with how this is going to be portrayed. And so, the ghost of the past thing, of course, and,
Yeah.
haunted buildings and whatnot.
Right, in the tunnels.
Yeah.
And,
So,
yeah.
but either way you look at it, at some point there is going to be some sort of investment money-wise, whether it's to decommission and demolish or restore. But
we just don't know.
we don't know yet, and I'm inclined to believe that it would be a further stretch to restore and or maintain, really. I just think that is not really feasible in the.
And like you said, the county
near Outlook.
surely doesn't have the money
Yeah,
to
we
do
don't. We don't have the money.
Okay. All right. Well, that answers their question, I guess.
I'm not sure if that was appreciated or not.
Yeah.
You're the one looking at the screen, not me. But
Well,
that's the facts as I know
Yeah.
them.
Okay. All right. What else you have?
Nothing.
Nothing really?
No.
Okay. Looking forward to Saturday?
I am looking forward to the garden walk. Saturday, we also have some graduation events to attend. I'm hoping that Saturday is the one day it's not going to rain this week.
Yeah. Well, they're saying, yeah, now I saw the 6 o'clock or whatever, and they said no rain Saturday.
Okay. Well, did
More clouds than
did our
sun.
favorite weatherman, Tom? Did
Yeah.
Doppler Tom agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So if that
Sunday,
happens,
probably, yeah. So we should be all right.
it's summertime.
Right.
I'm not complaining.
And I think where we're going to be,
I just
he's got
hope.
trees, and, we can sit under a tree and, maybe get Dick King to bring something over.
You never know.
I think something might be worked out at the preview tomorrow
You
night.
never know.
Yeah, are you going to the preview tomorrow?
I hope to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is on my calendar.
Okay.
I have a pretty busy day tomorrow, and I'm going to be at various places within the district. I'm going to be in Inkster. I'll be in Garden City. I'll be in Westland. I mean, there's a lot
Be
going
all
on
over.
starting at 8:30 tomorrow morning. So.
Okay. All right. Okay, without further ado, then let's talk about some upcoming shows we got. Put these on your calendar. We've been pretty busy scheduling guests to come on. So next week, the 26th, we got the president and founder of Providing for Paws, Joanne Dixon. She's going to be here. I actually met Joanne when we were in Tony's at Garden City Cafe. She was in there with a couple of her coworkers, I guess. And she says, I'll see you in a week and a half or
Nice.
a week from today or whatever. She's with Providing for Paws. Their primary goal is to provide community outreach to keep the pets in the home. But every now and then their organization has to go out and rescue some animals. So we'll see how we can be of help to them any way we can. And then on July 3rd, we just received confirmation from his office. U.S. Congressman John Conyers will be here in studio.
That's big.
To discuss issues that face Garden City and all the communities in his district. And Representative David Knisik will be here to sub for you because you're going to be out of town
Right.
as co-host. So that will be quite the show, I think. And then on July the 10th, a friend of the show and also right here on TalkShoe with the Old Time Rock and Roll radio show, Mr. Lee Douglas will be here. He's done like 632 shows and has like 1 million listeners. It's ridiculous. This guy's been spinning records a long time. So it should be interesting. You'll get a kick out of him. He's quite the guy. On July 17th, Westland Mayor and County Executive Candidate William Wild will be here in studio, and we'll see how his campaign's going. And on July 24th, Dearborn Heights Councilwoman State Representative Candidate for the 11th District, Lisa Hicks Clayton, will be here to talk about community engagement and her campaign. And then finally, on July 31st, another state representative candidate for the 11th District, Miss Julie Plawecki, will be here. And she'll talk about her campaign and how that's going as well. So we're working on August guests. You had mentioned, who was that?
Yeah, Paul Ruthenberg from Midwest Sanitation.
Right,
Known
right.
Paul for 20-some-odd years.
That'd be an interesting show. Get him
Yeah,
on.
so Paul is reviewing the dates that we've offered him right now.
Mm-hmm.
Said that he'd get with me in the next day or so, but hope to have him as a guest in August.
Cool. Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd talk about recycling and
Yeah.
and
How
how he
things have
started
changed
out.
and-
Yeah, how it's changed. Right. Cool. And then we're also waiting on confirmation from the Alzheimer's Association. They want to come on and talk about what signs to look for and support for the caregivers. So that'll be interesting. So things are booking up, my friend.
Yes, indeed.
Very interesting. We got some good shows coming up, and we'll see how that goes. Now, if anybody's out there that wants to come on the show, promote your organization or business or service that you might do, send us an email at gccommunitychat@gmail.com. So a lot of good shows coming up, and we hope you'll all be a part of it. All right, Richard did his update. Next city council meeting for Garden City is Monday, June 30th. Get my teeth in there. 7 p.m., 6000 Middlebelt Road in Garden City. And then we talked about the Garden Club. Come on out and see Richard and myself and all the 8 beautiful homes in Garden City. Tickets $8, 2 for $15, on sale at Barson's Greenhouse, and also Lucky Dog Daycare. Let's see.
And they make a nice gift too for if you want to send
It
somebody.
does. Absolutely.
I bought 2 tickets. I'm not using them. I'm not sure who's getting them yet, but
It is. It's a great
2
gift
for
idea.
15, you can't
Right.
beat it.
Yeah. Bring your grandmother or something, I'm sure they'd like it. Let me see what else we got here as I scroll through my notes. Yeah, this is their 20th anniversary, so it's a special one. And like I said, the first 50 people will get a free perennial. So that's kind of cool. I think tomorrow they're going to be wrapping them or something, so getting them ready. Let me see what else. Oh, I did want to mention that the Garden City Relay for Life, as of 6 p.m. tonight on their website, posted 27 teams and 261 participants have raised a little over $69,000. Nice. That's very nice. With 12-year-old Nick Painter, our friend Nick Painter, who's been on our show a couple times with Team Paint the Town Cured as the top team, with a little over $8,100 he raised.
No kidding.
Honest to God. Can you believe it? And I want you to know that his team consists of basically him and his mom, Jennifer. So that's crazy. So congrats to all the teams involved. You did another incredible job this year, and you should all be very proud of yourself. Well, Richard, I think we're ready to call this a podcast.
Let's call it a podcast.
I want to thank everyone that participated on tonight's show. A special thanks to Buddy and Shelby Shuh. Boy, what a great couple they were.
Yes, indeed.
I mean, he's a funny guy, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Great sense of humor. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I hope they come back. Thank them for coming on the show, sharing their story with us. And a big thanks to my co-host, Wayne County Commissioner Richard LeBlanc.
Thank you.
And our resident weatherman, Doppler Tom. And thanks to everyone who hung out in the chat room with us. We appreciate your support every week. If you have a show idea or a guest you'd like us to try and get on, just send us an email at gccommunitychat@gmail.com, and we'll do our very best to provide that. And if you haven't joined our mailing list yet, in the subject line, just type "add me to your mailing list." That's growing. We're getting pretty good sized mailing list. I like it. gccommunitychat@gmail.com. Join us next Thursday, June 26th, for show number 205 at 8 p.m. right here on TalkShoe.com. Show ID 82757, when we welcome to the studio Joanne Dixon, founder and president of Providing for Paws. Should be another good one. Remember, the success of a community depends on the community, so please support your local businesses. And if you see something, say something. Look out for one another out there. So on behalf of Tom and Richard, this is Carrie. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next week. Good night, Richard.
Good night.
Call recording has been completed.